Yo, what's up guys? Today we're going to be making this sound from Skantia's insane tune, Yo Bop. Alright, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Jesse from How to Drum and Bass, where amongst other things, we take the sounds and the styles and the techniques that the top producers are using today, and we're going to teach it to you. And today we're going to talk about this YOI sound. It's not just this song, I think this is how it got popular, but it's appearing in a lot more dubs lately. And of course, it's super cool, right? And anytime that something talks, people go crazy. It goes all the way back to when Peter Frampton did his talking guitar thing way back like 50 years ago. If you don't know about that, you'll have to look it up. It's super cool. And ever since, people have loved it when sound sounds like a human. So today we're going to look at how to do that. It's actually really quite simple if you know what to do. And like always, you can download the preset for this and the Ableton rack that we're going to make in the link below. Also, before we start, I want to say if you want to get into drum bass production, please go check out howtodrumbass.com. We have loads of resources for you, and we have a special deal on our membership, the School of Drum and Bass, right now, which I'll tell you a little bit about further on in the video. All right, so let's look at how we are going to do this. So basically, we want to grab 3 beats worth of notes, and we're just going to put a random note in, something that works. I put in the D2 note, but whatever works for you. Then we're going to go grab a Serum patch, and what we want to do is we want to grab a wavetable that is super loud but all sort of noisy and scrunched up. So one that works really well is here in the digital wavetables, the Tigra wavetable, and if you move the wavetable position up, we get something like this. This is kind of what we want. There's a few other ones, especially in the spectral section here, that'll work. And as well, like I have these robotic tables that you can download online for free. Those also work really well. And we want to just put that down, let's say maybe 2 octaves so that we get this. Right, something like that. And so what we want to do is we're going to use a formant filter. So you can find those in the miscellaneous section under here, and we're going to grab formant number 1. It's going to quiet it down a lot. We're gonna work on that. But the first thing we want to do is grab this LFO, and we're going to put it on this cutoff. And so if you don't know what a formant filter does, essentially you see these peaks here. They emulate what happens in your throat. So when we talk, there are resonances in the sound that we produce because we're blowing out air and it's going through our throat, and our throat is contracting to make what is essentially vowel sounds. This is sort of an emulation of that in terms of a filter, because your throat also filters air, and that's essentially how the sound of your voice is created. And so when we move this cutoff over time, just like you actually move your throat, the sound is going to morph over time. And so if we just have it not moving, it's not going to sound that interesting. Let's actually turn this up just for a second as well. However, when we have this moving, you can already hear that some interesting stuff is going to happen. So all we need to do is find the right point. So first of all, let's just turn this back down a little bit. I want to throw a compressor on here really quickly, just so we actually get some more compressed volume out of here. Okay, cool. And then, because we sort of want to do the same thing that Skantia's tune has, right? Let's go ahead and put this LFO that we've been using on a dotted mode. We're going to put it on dotted 8th note, so it's going to follow that rhythm that we want. And of course, we got to put it on trigger mode. Nice. Okay, cool. So now we have to find the right point. And you can see that if we put it a little bit more in this direction, and let's also up the drive here, because you can see that the formant filter here, it takes away a lot of the rest of the sound, which we kind of don't want. We really want this to be accentuated. There we go. We actually have something along this is probably the sweet spot. And you can move this around to sort of get a different, what I would call pronunciation. So here it's like a different word even. And here it goes more towards YOI. We can play a little bit with this resonance as well to make it a little bit more a sort of clear pronunciation. And then we have this formant button as well. I found keeping the formant button down mostly works the best for this particular sound. Hey, what's up guys? Just want to take 1 minute of your time to ask you if you are looking to start learning about drum bass production, or maybe you've already started and you just feel like you need a lot more of the fundamentals and you want to understand it really much more thoroughly and start to finish. We have just done a soft launch for our newest product. It's a membership called the School of Drum and Bass, and it has more than 200 videos that go from all the way in the beginning on how to produce music and how to use Ableton and all those kinds of things, all the way to producing a professional drum and bass track, mixing, and pretty much everything that needs to be covered for a beginner and an intermediate producer. If you feel like that might be interesting for you, there's a super special offer right now. You can get your first week for just £1 That is like $1.50 if you live in the US, or like €1.15. So if you're ready to level up your drum bass production, go check it out in the link below. All right, let's move on with the video. We can change the wavetable position, of course, as well to change sort of the timbre of that YOI. Make it a little bit more robotic or a little bit more darker. I think this works quite nicely. Then additionally, let's put this compressor somewhere here, because before that, let's do some distortion. And we can actually go and pick the downsample here, which we don't really use that much in general, but it's quite cool on this voice. Just to add a little bit of shimmer to it. If you want to make it a little bit more robotic. Pretty cool. Nice. Let's put that gain back up. And we could also go ahead and then maybe add some hyper and dimension, right? Not too much, just a little bit, just make it a little bit wider, and that it's also going to give it a little bit of the stereo width effect that you would normally hear from a voice, because when you hear a voice, it comes in two different ears, right? Sweet. And then we can also go ahead and sort of make it a little bit more fatter and gnarly by adding a combs filter here that has a cutoff that is pretty high. Nice. So if you don't know about a combs filter, the nice thing about a combs filter is that the cutoff determines everything after the cutoff sort of gets that combing, but everything under it gets this drive from the comb filter that actually is really, really quite nice. Now, the more you put that resonance up, the more it's going to sound sort of like it actually came from a machine, so we probably don't really want that right now. But this works pretty well. We can also put this threshold up a little bit extra to make it cleaner. And then just crank out that gain again. We can also go ahead and actually grab one of the other formant filters to give it a little bit more of a pronunciation that is different. You can see here that those peaks in formant 1 are differently distributed from the ones in formant 2. I think actually maybe that also happens in Skantia's song, because it changes at some point in time. And you can also hear that it starts to pronounce different types of semi-words, right? Instead of YOI, goes ow or yay. Here it says yeah, 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 basically. And that's essentially the sound as it is. Now you can do a whole bunch of things after that. You can add some extra saturation. I've actually found that adding another formant filter on top of this can sort of make it a little bit more bright as well. Could be a little bit intense, but that is just optional, of course. Now, the only thing that you are hearing now is it does have a little bit too much resonant stuff going on here. And so you want to really be careful with these formant filters where you put the resonance, because it is going to sound like you can hear that on top, but we can just dial this back down if we want. And it also become a little bit louder. Nice. So that is how to make the YOI bass. And yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching once again. Like I said, if you want to learn more about how to produce drum and bass, you can check all the other videos on my channel, or you can go to howtodrumbass.com. Link down here in the description, and you can find loads more super awesome content for you to improve as a drum bass producer. All right, without further ado, I'm going to end the video there, and I'll see you in the next one.